Welcome back to my podcast, Filmmaking, Actually. Ta-da! I wanted to pop in with a probably very, very short episode. I don't know, because I'm recording it right now. We'll see how short this turns out. I like to give advice. I like to share, kind of what I've learned. I like to share kind of like some insight to my experiences and things like that. But I want to remind everybody listening of something very important. You have to do what works for you. I've mentioned this in an earlier episode. I'm here to share what works for me with the hopes that it can help find work for you or help you find what works for you. But it's important that you do what works for you. The same thing may not work for everyone, and that's okay. Finding what works for you is part of the process. One of the biggest differences between this podcast and a million other ones is that I'm not actually selling you anything. I mean, if you want to hire me to make your movie or you want to invest in one of my movies, like that's awesome. But that's not the point of this podcast. The point of this podcast is to make the world a better place. And I say that with a laugh because it feels like it shouldn't be weird to do that. But I just want people to not be overwhelmed by the film industry. I want people to be empowered and feel like, this is a dream that they can chase. I want people to figure stuff out. There are things that work for me that do not work for other people. And there are things that work for other people that do not work for me. It could be a creative choice. It could be just a personal choice. At the end of the day, it's your responsibility to pick your path. And I don't use that word responsibility lightly. You're going to see so many things out there in the world that tell you you have to or you must. Do you? Why? It's so important that, I say you don't need to hire a name. You don't need to just cast a name. That doesn't mean don't cast a name, but it means that you may be able to get your project off the ground by casting the amazing independent artist who you found, who's so good and could be an incredible character in that role. And if you just drop a name in, they might not be as good as an actor and tell the story in the same way. So you have to make that decision. I just think it's really important to note that for anything, whether you're following, taking a masterclass from the masterclass platform and you're listening to Ron Howard or some superstar, like amazing multi-Academy Award winning creator, or if you're listening to a random podcast by a random person like me, you have to decide what works for you. And that may or may not be the same for everybody. And, you might look at something and be like, all right, well, this worked, but this didn't. Or that gives me an idea. I wonder if I should try it this way. That's the best kind of innovation. I mean, we look back at the past and we're like, how could people have not known this or whatever? But we forget that innovation grows, sometimes exponentially. The Wright brothers were not going to the moon, but within like such a short period of time after they flew their airplane, we landed on the moon. So sometimes putting out that first idea then gives space to reinvent that idea or further develop that idea or polish that idea or come up with a better way of doing that idea. And that's what, innovation and development is all about. So don't feel like I'm talking at you or I'm telling you this is how you have to do things. And definitely don't feel like somebody tells you this is the way it is. Is it? Does it have to be? I mean, there are some things that are the way it is. If you do not take the lens cap off the camera, you are not going to have visuals for your film. You don't press record, you are not going to have sound or you're not going to have video. Like, it's just the way it works. Everything else is pretty much up to however you want to do it, whatever works for you. Some people have to have everything written down checklists, written down notes. Some people don't. I do support writing things down. I think it's helpful, but I really, really, really want to make sure, especially as you're going through this podcast, I'm giving a bunch of information and giving a bunch of my ideas. I want to make sure that you also do what works for you, because that's what's most important. It's your path. It's your journey. It's your choices. There's that great expression, doing a lot of quotes in these episodes. Never take advice from someone who doesn't have to pay your bills. If it doesn't work, if it's not going to help you, skip it. It's totally fine. Don't break the law. Be creative in ways that are safe. Don't put people in danger. Don't take advantage of people. Don't hurt people. Press record. Take your lens cap off. Make sure there's something in the camera to film on. And that's basically it. Everything else is an amazingly wild world of creativity and imagination. So have at it. All right, that's all. Bye.
You've been listening to Filmmaking Actually with Koura Linda, Space Dream Productions podcast. Subscribe to us on any or all the podcast platforms If you like what you hear, leave us 5-star ratings and positive reviews on iTunes. It helps more listeners like you discover the show. But the best thing you can do if you really like the show is tell a friend. Want to leave a comment or ask a question? Email at filmmakingactually@gmail.com. This is Spacey speaking, and remember,
Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world.
and we'll see you next time.
It's hard to